Hey, it's Nikki here back on Addicted to Betterment with our friend Steve Perkins from Greenhouse. He is taking us through this journey of building these core foundational habits from the roots up, the roots up approach. So we are so enjoying learning from Steve, and I think there's a lot in store with this episode. Take a listen.
Hey friends, David here with Addicted to Betterment, and man, I'm excited for today's episode. Guys, if you follow Nikki and I at all or listen to our stuff, one thing you know is that we are on this relentless pursuit to live life at a 10. And I hate the idea of being average. I hate the idea of mediocrity controlling my life and, going through life just checking the box. And some time ago, we got introduced to today's guest and friend of ours, Steve Perkins. Man, instantly, our first conversation, I felt like I needed a couple more energy drinks to keep up with his energy and passion. And every conversation I've had with him since then has been that we share this mindset that you can live your best life. And Steve has created actionable, scalable items or products and coaching tools to help people do that. And Steve, man, I am excited to have you on today's show and this series that we're doing.
Yeah, me too. This has been, I want to say, a long time coming. I guess it hasn't been a long time, but it feels like we did that first episode together and we're like, we gotta keep this going. So I'm really excited. We got started over on your other show, Gut Plus Science, which was really fun, me and Nikki. And yeah, I'm really excited for today and the topics we're going to hit.
Yeah, me too. I tell you what, so Steve is CEO and founder of Greenhouse and also the host of a fantastic podcast. Friends, if you get a chance, go over, subscribe to the podcast. RootsUp is Steve's podcast. It is fantastic. You will always walk away with actionable items to live a better life. But Steve, excited to do a series with you. So through a lot of conversation and we've been working on him for a while to bring his content to our show because at Addicted to Betterment, we believe that every area of life, we can live our best life. It doesn't have to be an either or, it's all in. And we're passionate about that. And Steve, excited to partner with you on that. So we're going to do a series with you. Thank you for agreeing to that. When Nikki suggested doing this series, she's like, hey, I'll host him. And I was like, no, come on. I know you're a lot better host, but hey, I want to do this one. So excited to partner together. And one of the things I was hoping to talk with you about that you do a lot of work around is being the CEO of your calendar. And Steve, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business leaders and owners. And then you have people that are just going through life. And the thing that I hear all the time when I'm talking to business owners is, I'm so busy. I don't have time. I didn't get this. And no matter how important it is, talk to me your thoughts around when you hear that. What's some of the things that come to mind?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think one of the things that happens, at Greenhouse, we like to say, we want to help you grow the life you want. And it's similar to the life wheel that you guys do. It's all the categories of life being aligned, working together towards what you actually want. And so often we don't know what we want because we have no time to think about it. And yeah, talk about leaders. It's like the higher you go, the more overwhelm there is and the less people there are to confide in with that overwhelm because everyone wants something from you and it is lonely at the top. So I have found in my own journey, but also with coaching a lot of people, it's kind of the unsexy stuff that is the sexy stuff. And CEO of your calendar, you say that to your friends at, a party and it's like, all right, you just killed the vibes. But you say it to someone in this context and they're like on the edge of their seat, tell me more, please. How do I become the CEO of my calendar? Because that's what's killing me. Like if you really boil the ocean, I actually did this once with an organization of 1,000 people and we looked at all the problems and then we mapped it almost like it ended up looking like a big hourglass funnel. Like all of the problems, if you kept asking why does that problem exist? Why does that problem? Okay, why? Okay, then why? At the very bottom was literally one thing, and it was busyness. It's like, but it's this badge of pride and honor, you know? And so we get this weird dynamic going on where we feel like we got to say I'm busy, and it's this it's this good thing, and yet it's also killing us. And if we want to build a life we want and the business and the company we want, it's like we got to take control of our time again. But I think a lot of us feel like it's impossible. I mean, I know I used to feel that way for sure. Like, well, that's not actually possible.
Man, that's so good. So it's crazy as I'm listening to you talking. It's the reason why I was so excited to get you on this series. I didn't see it as a choice. I mean, what you're talking about, you're so good at it, and you're so good at helping people solve this. And I'm like, Steve, you got to be on Addicted Betterment to talk about this. And just this week. So one of my days this week, I met with 3 separate business owners in one day. And all 3 of them were sharing from previous meetings that we had these things that they knew they had to do in their business to take it to the next level. And they were excited about it. And it wasn't a matter of, I don't know if I need to do that, or it was, yes, this is important. And as I was following up on those things, hey, how's that going? I just haven't got around to it. I'm so busy. It's hard to do all the things. And even though they know it's important, and it's not a matter of like, I don't know if I want to or if I should, they know, but they still are so busy that they can't get that thing done. And entrepreneurs all over the globe who listen to our show can relate to exactly what I'm saying. Talk to me about how you see that.
Yeah, okay, we're getting deep here because to me, this is the core problem, especially for the types of people you're talking about. And we want to make the problem all these other shiny, like more interesting things. And it's not. Like the problem is we don't have time to do what matters. And then it's a cyclical thing. So it becomes this thing we're trapped in where we can't seem to find time for the things that matter. But that creates less time. And then we're even more trapped in the urgent stuff. And suddenly, like, okay, my goals that I set for this year for my business and for my life and for my marriage, this is like the most important stuff. And yet every day I sabotage it 100 times by saying, like, I just had it this morning. Someone texted me on the way here and was like, hey, can we grab coffee? I want to pick your brain about something. And I mean, I'm such a people pleaser. I just want to say yes. And I used to say yes to all these. And what I want to say to this guy is like, man, but you don't understand. I get 30 of these every week. Like, if I said yes to them all, I would never get the important stuff done. And you and I know it's like those small things snowball into big things. So now it's like my marriage is crumbling and my business isn't working. And like, so then like the people I employ can't have jobs. And then it's like my clients suffer. And so I used to be really, really awful with my time. I mean, I used to be the biggest culprit of this topic because I would say yes to everything. And I'm like, I am an adventurer and an idea guy. I like to experience everything. I want to be involved in all these things. And so I used to pack my calendar full and I was very reactive. It's like, whatever, if you ping me about some idea, I'm like, I'm in. Yes. And so I remember very clearly the first year of entrepreneurship, and I'm staring at this laptop every morning, and I was basically working out of Starbucks, you know, like all of us got to start real scrappy. So I'm at this Starbucks, I'm staring every morning at my laptop. I came out of the corporate world, so I had a lot of bad habits from that. And every morning was like this huge list. I was like a list guy, so I just put everything, and I'm staring at this list going, all this stuff is equally important. Like, where do I start? And I'm curious if you've ever had this, David, because I had many days where I spent more time like rearranging the list than I did knocking anything off the list because I was just trying to, I don't know, like organize it and make sense of it. And so I was just very scattered. And it's like, I'm doing a ton of activity, but I'm not moving the needle at all. So for anyone out there, if this, you know, helps them feel more seen and understood, I had invested my own money to start this company. My wife had stopped working at the time. We had a lot going on in life. And so I needed to start making some money, but I actually spent the whole first year spending and not making almost anything because of this problem. It's like, all the gurus online want to talk about like these sales strategies and all this fancy stuff. It's like really the problem was just that every day I was packing my calendar with stupid things that had nothing to do with like the goal of finding clients and making money. And so when I look back now, it's really clear. I think I learned a lot from that year, but I kind of wasted that year in a sense, rearranging to-do lists.
You asked me if I've experienced that. I was like, were you watching my morning routine this morning? Is that what you're doing? 'Cause,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Have I experienced it? Yes. I feel like it's a battle that we all fight, and one of the reasons you said something I want to just highlight. You mentioned, career and being a husband and, your marriage is crumbling, you're trying to do all the things. And that is why I'm so excited to chop this up with you today is because friends, if you're seeing progress and killing it in business, but your marriage is crumbling, it's not a flex. That's not, you're failing. If you can do the things, have the disciplines to kill it in business, kill it as a spouse, kill it as a father, as a mother. You can do, and if you're not, then you got your priorities wrong and you're not managing your time correctly. And that's why I love having you on here because, Steve, you exemplify that, you live it out, and man, it's inspirational to me. So share with us some what that looks like to you.
Yeah. And I just want to say, because I think that's a huge point you just made. You and I are both very intentional about this, but it is a constant pursuit to recorrect and to adjust. I mean, I just yesterday, as a coach, I'm big on practice what you preach. Like I have coaches and advisors too. And one of them said yesterday to me, you know, Steve, one of the mistakes I had made earlier in his entrepreneurship was I made my family an accessory to my mission at work. And I saw the consequences of that later. And he was like, I want to help you prevent that because, he was seeing in me signs of doing that at times. Like, oh yeah, I'm so hyped about what I'm doing at work that I kind of just want my family to be like an accessory to that versus they're first. And then it's not that I don't have to be excited about the work stuff, but it's like the mental emotional prioritization of it. It's hard for entrepreneurs. So I think all these things we're talking about, they do come back to being the CEO of your calendar. And yeah, I mean, I think we should dive into what it looks like, but the main point is it's about one major shift, shifting from reactive to proactive. And that's a major shift because we are now in a world where we're pinged constantly with all kinds of stuff to react to. So, we don't have to dive into it. Everyone listening knows it's like thousands of marketing messages a day, maybe hundreds of notifications, texts, emails. And then not to mention the fact that we're just constantly connected. So you're like getting input and stimuli all day long. And I think what it's created in our culture is a reactive nature. Like most people are just living in this reactivity just to survive the day. And so, guilt shaming here. It's just like, this is the water we're swimming in. And so if we want to be proactive and we want to create more of the life and the business we want, you have to very intentionally make that shift to be proactive about your time. And what that looks like is mainly putting blocks on your calendar that are the most important stuff to you that repeat out into the future. So everything else has to be built around those things. And then, because everyone I hear already the objections, you listener, or I know what you're saying. You're in the car yelling at me right now. Like, yeah, but I can't stick to the blocks. Like I've tried that, Steve. I put the blocks on there and I just ignore them or things pop up. And that's why part 2 is so crucial, which is protecting the time that you blocked. And there are strategies that work. I mean, the people who do this, and now I'm one of them, can attest to the strategies work. But you have to have both. You got to have the intentional blocks and the strategies to protect the blocks. And it's a game changer. I mean, I used to be Sunday scaries to the max because it's like Monday, my calendar is just going to like hit me like a brick wall. And now I really look forward to Mondays and even every morning because I have these blocks of time for what matters most first. And then the other stuff can filter around that. And so, forewarning to people, it is like getting in the gym. Like you have to build the muscle. And I'm just saying this with pure empathy because I used to be so bad at this and it took several years of really practicing this new way to dial it in. But I mean, what's on the other side is so glorious because most days now I've got time to do creative, strategic things that move my goals forward. I've got space to breathe in between. I'm used to be late to everything. I still am a lot of times, but like not as late to everything. I'm not rushing around constantly. And you have more agency than you might think because easy for me to say I'm the boss of this company, but like what about someone working in a company that's got lots of people requesting their time and people they're accountable to? I think even in that situation, I've seen that you have more leeway than you think. It's just that shift. Like you're probably in reactive mode, being a victim to everyone else's requests. And if you shift it, you might find you have a whole lot of space for agency. And I think that's like my hope that people get out of this conversation.
Man, that's so good. So I love how you broke that down, identifying the priorities, then making time blocks accordingly. So let's just give an example of someone like us. I work with these guys. I talk to these people every day and they listen to the show. They have massive business goals. They've got fitness goals that they're trying to accomplish, get in the gym, eat healthy. They also love their significant other. They're passionate about being a parent and and giving back to the community and being filling all the roles. So let's start with first, give me a couple practical steps to the man, the woman listening to the show going, "Oh, man, I relate." So what's the first to do that they can do to identify their priorities so that they can then, block the proper times and some practical steps to do that?
Yeah. Okay. So this is such a great question. There's a two-part answer because the real answer is you got to have a clear vision and intentions, which is like, we'll get back to that at the end because if you start there, you might be too overwhelmed. So for the person who's just back to back overwhelmed, the starting point is this: put 3 blocks on your calendar. And I mean, literally, if you're listening, I want you to pause it and put them on there right now. Or if you have like an admin, someone that owns your calendar, right now, tell them to add these. So the first one is called your weekly planning rhythm. So you can just call it like weekly planning, whatever. And I'm just going to give you the ideal. This can be different for everyone, but the ideal scenario is it's Friday morning and what you're doing in that block, let's call it an hour block. If you're real tight, then like just start with a half hour. Start with something doable, but ideally would be in like an hour. And in this block, you're going to do 3 simple things. You're going to look at this past week, what was a win, and write it down. Because we're always focused on problems and moving forward, but like there was a win and you got to recognize the wins. So what was a win? And then what was something you learned that week? Because we want to also capture the learnings and be growing versus just like running by them and missing it. The second thing you're going to do in that block, I like to call it your main thing. It's decide your one top priority for the next week. And I know that there's always more than one, but the word priority literally means one. So the practice of choosing one is important because what if, everything hits the fan next week and it's chaos and a bunch of unforeseen things happen and I can't get my whole list done? What is the one thing, like if I can only get one thing done, what would it be that would move the needle on what matters? So this is where if you've done the work of like vision and goal setting, it's already clear. You just picked something. But if you haven't yet, you still have a good gut sense. Like, all right, what's a significant step forward that you probably are putting off because it's hard or it takes time? Like, there's your thing, and you set that main thing for next week. Okay. The third thing you do in this block is you set a time next week to do that main thing. It's like so basic, right? But we don't do this. So what we do is, well, okay, what I need to do is right now in my business, we need to grow our client base. So I need to do a bunch of like outreach work. That's hard. I don't like it. It takes time. So I'll just like, I procrastinate it. First, I answer a bunch of emails. Then I like pour coffee 5 times. And then, like maybe by Thursday night, I get to it. Maybe. And so to your point, like when I'm working with CEOs and entrepreneurs, I make them do it Monday morning. Your block is Monday morning, and that's when you're doing the most important thing. Because you just told me that it's the most important thing. So like, let's live like it. And if you want to whine, the Monday's already blocked. It's like, then move it. Whatever is Monday morning, I guarantee it's not as important. Like you have agency. This is about being the CEO of your calendar, not like the servant of your calendar. So Monday morning is my ideal. Even if you just do this one tip, you've already flipped your entire calendar on its head and made it about what matters most every week. Now, of course, following through is a whole other topic, but you've at least set the intention and you've shifted from reactive to proactive. So like major win, that's great. The other thing I would do is set a little block every morning to kind of do a mini version of that for the day. And for me, I like to do it in the car or in the shower, like bake it into something I'm already doing so it doesn't take up extra time, and just make that a practice of looking at your calendar for the day, thinking through like what matters. Do I need to be like prepared for certain meetings, or like come in knowing what I want to get out of that meeting? And it's just like a mini, 10 or 15 minutes thought process for the day. But if you do those two things, now you have moved from reactive to proactive every week on Friday, and you've moved from reactive to proactive every day, first thing in the morning. I mean, you're already better than 99% of people on planet Earth if you've done that. Because it's just, no one's this intentional. I think that's the best place to start. Like just start with that. And then, well, I said 3. The third block would be if you're a leader and you have like one-on-ones with the people you manage or team meetings, the recurring kind of stuff, is just try to block it together as much as you can. So I was working with a leader recently and we put all their one-on-ones on Tuesday afternoon back to back, because what happens is these things were spread out throughout their week. And so they could never get important stuff done because they were context switching constantly. And, for anyone who's into the brain science stuff, it's like, it takes you sometimes a half hour to get back into the flow once you've broken out of it. So like, well, I'm in this meeting, then I have a one-on-one, and then I have this meeting, and then this meeting, and then a one-on-one. And it's like, if I batched all the one-on-ones together, I could just do one preparation, be in the flow, get it done. And now I've got a whole week without it. So I think those practical steps are like, you can do them right now, especially if you're like the top leader or an entrepreneur. Then you start creating breathing room so we can talk about the bigger picture. Because if we start with the bigger picture, like it's just hard when you're drowning. Let's get the floaties on. Let's get to where we're at surface level and breathing again. And now we can look bigger picture.
Man, that's good. So I've got 2 pages of notes right now already. So I've got some work to do. Thank you.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I just always want people to hear like this stuff. Like, don't start shaming yourself or beating yourself up, because like this is a work in progress for everyone, even, me as a person who teaches it. So yeah, I think like those practical steps, let's just start trying to get some consistency first.
I love it. So we've arrived at this point, and I want to highlight some things you said there. One is, when you set your priorities, at the end of the day, don't say something is important to you, and then your time commitments show that it's not. So let's just be real. If your family is getting your leftovers, or, what's getting your leftovers, hopefully nothing, you're able to prioritize with time blocks may not be the equal amount of time, but that time is focused and intentional. So if you get small amounts with your significant other, block that time where it's super intentional with so they're not just getting crumbs from your day or from your, so we've looked at our priorities. We've, blocked the time. As you said, I love the step of these mini blocks every day. I'm going to actually steal that and start that right away. Thank you. So as we start to wrap this up, give me your advice on, we've done all that. Now here we are. What's some advice you'd give on achieving balance in this busyness that we all live in? Give us some words from you.
Well, I think it's what you were just naming, the small steps. I really believe the small things are the big things when it comes to stuff like this. So I have a friend who's really big on these challenges and kicks. He's like the Whole 30 and the 30-day like fitness challenge and all the things. He's always getting into the challenges. And I'm not against them. I think that's awesome. And it gives him a spike of motivation, and it's just how his brain works. The problem is what happens after every challenge is he crashes. And so he's got this roller coaster ride in his life. And I've seen him go through it over 100 times now. Major excitement, do this challenge, and then crash. Oh, I got to do another thing to get back on track, and then crash. And everyone listening has probably experienced some version of this. So, what we're starting to learn through all this like neuroscience and great research and studies is it's actually the tiny steps over time that make the bigger impact. Some people are really into the book,
Atomic Habits.
Yeah, Atomic Habits, which is kind of the point of the whole book. It's these small steps over time that start to shift not only our habits, but I would say also our narrative, which is more powerful than our habits. So I think these little steps repeated over time are the difference between the great leaders and the difference makers and the rest of us who maybe are doing this like roller coaster ride. And so, you hear someone's story on some podcast and it's like, wow, they're amazing. Well, what we know is it was all the stuff behind the scenes that wasn't sexy that led to that. And a lot of it was these little routines repeated over time. So I just think it's important to notice that, like, if you implement this little thing we just talked about and you do it for the next 6 weeks straight, I guarantee you, I will send you $1,000 check if I'm wrong. Like your life will be changed for the better. Your business will be growing. And so I think that mental shift of what if I did the small things consistently, believing that it's going to lead to the big things.
Man, Steve, I'm inspired right now. Like I'm already challenged and I work hard to be intentional with my time anyway. So I can't imagine someone else is listening to this and not, one, inspired, and two, some hope saying, hey, I can fix this. But the challenge is, where do you start? Where do you get started to do this? Do you have any tools, any resources? What does Greenhouse do to help people get started?
I appreciate you asking, because a big part of our mission is we do coaching and we do retreats and programs and the in-depth stuff, which is what we love. And that's really the life transformation where it happens. But yeah, a lot of times we just need a small first step, something to just activate on now while I'm motivated. So we've created mini courses, we call them, on all the topics we're going to cover. And I think this is the perfect thing for your audience to take a next step. We have a mini course called CEO of Your Calendar, where I dive into the nitty gritty of exactly how to implement what we're talking about. And the part that we didn't get to, which is how to protect those blocks. That's the crucial part. But it's short and sweet. I mean, you can get through this thing really quick. It's all about activating on the few things that matter. So we have it as a mini course if you want to go through it on your own. But we also have what we call a spot coaching session. And so you can just jump in for one session, no commitment, just kind of get over the hump, get some direction, get some guidance. Because you know how it is. You talk to someone else and it can unlock something for you. And so people can do either version, whatever works for them, which I love. Like, I love this. Okay, let's just take a small step and get moving, because action will bring clarity. Like, action brings clarity. And what I found is once you take that first step, it gives you the motivation to take the next and the next and keep that consistency. So, I mean, that's what I would tell people, because at the end of the day, if we go back to Addicted to Betterment's mission and Greenhouse's mission and helping people grow this life that they want, it starts with having a vision of what is the life you want. Like, we got to actually define where we're headed, or we can't get there. If you do that, that helps you then create goals, because you're going to be able to pull those goals out of that vision. All right, here are the milestones that help me move toward that life. And then that gives you clarity for this day to day. All right, what is my main thing next week? What are the steps I need to take now? And that's when you said our podcast is called RootsUp. That's what we call the RootsUp approach to growing the life you want, is this vision, intentions, and these root level things. So if somebody's listening and they're more like in the place of, no, I'm ready to make a wholesale change, I got to make a big shift, then I think their next step is to work through this RootsUp approach and get clear on the vision and the goals, and put those roots into place. And that's also something we do. We've got actually a quiz that we can link here. That's like the first step. And you just go through the quiz. It takes about 5 minutes on average, and it tells you, like, what to do next.
Friends, we're going to put the link to that quiz here in the show notes. Just look in the show notes, click on the link, take the quiz. I'm going to do it as soon as I get off here. I'm a little bit afraid of what I'm going to figure out and how much work I need to do. But, I love the affirmation of the small steps. And my favorite thing that you said today is I talk to people every single day, Steve, who are overwhelmed with this conversation. This is the thing. They've got big goals and they want to do it. They feel overwhelmed and their time is all over the place and they can't get the thing done and they don't know where to start. And the thing I love that you gave was hope. You can do this. And, with people who have set big goals and are trying to accomplish big things and feel like they're on that hamster wheel and not able, they're just running in place and not, the list keeps getting pushed to the next day. Steve, your mission and what you guys do is this passion to help people do that better and solve that.
Well, I love that you said that, because I think that's why you and I really resonated about creating a partnership, because we both want to help people activate. And here's another thing I would say. If you are someone who's feeling the overwhelm and you know yourself, like, that you're going to close this podcast, go back to your work, and you're going to lose the steam and it's not going to happen, then you are somebody who needs to get a coaching session. Like, this is why I've devoted my life to this stuff, because at some point we need another person to help us get over the hump. And I myself have multiple coaches. Like, it's no one is beyond this. This is like, it's just what we need in certain areas, because we're stuck in the weeds of our own life sometimes. So I used to be more shy about saying this, but I'm not anymore. I'm actually pretty confident that if you're listening and that's you got to take the step to, like, get on a call with someone who can help you get over the hump. Otherwise, it's just another exercise of inspiration lost tomorrow. And I mean, you and I are just so passionate about, like, no, you got to seize this moment, because it'll be gone. And life is just going to be mediocre if you keep doing that.
Love it. Friends, take the first step. Take the first step. If one of those steps is click on the show notes, I'll put Steve's info in the show notes. Man, thank you so much. You helped me today. And if you're addicted to betterment and I'm an addicted to betterment listener, I know Steve helped you as well. So friends, go make it a great day. Let's go. So you just listened to this episode. Now join us in being addicted to betterment. Please subscribe to the show, share with your friends, tag us, and please take a moment, leave a review. Yeah, we do want your stars, but we really want the feedback.